Hi students, this picture depicts the greatest Bhopal disaster or industrial disaster that has occurred in India, and due to which 4,000 people died and 5 lakh people were affected. Let us see how this had happened. As part of routine procedures, the pipes leading from methyl isocyanide distillation column to the storage tanks were regularly flushed with pressurized water. MIC and any associated products can be quite corrosive and could form corrosion deposits in the pipe. So during cleaning, walls in the product lines were to be closed and a blank of a slip blind placed in the product line leading to the storage tank to prevent contamination. But here what happened, the walls, however, although closed, were not sealing properly because of corrosion, and it appears that about 1,000 kilogram of water plus metal debris enter into the tank and initiated an exothermic reaction. So usual practice is that tank should be filled up to 50%, prime protection external jacketed cooling system at 0 degrees Celsius, safety wall located underground. But inoperative refrigeration system was turned off 6 months ago due to economic crisis of the company. Walls were defective due to the lack of maintenance and tank filled with more than 50%. And this is the tank which underwent exothermic explosion, due to which we had direct loss as well as indirect loss. And some examples where you could see in our day-to-day life where the metals undergoes corrosion, like rusted chilled water, rusted steam piping, steel deck support brackets for topside vertical ladder, naval ship, topside rusted steel, this is also naval ship, pipe hanger, naval ship, floodlight positioning bracket, and some of the examples where we could see corrosion in lab. This is bicycle rim, railing of bridge, Karatsu, Saha, Japan, 6 May 2014. Cast iron pump impeller, household examples, postbox, plumbing fixtures. Pemex refinery explosion in Mexico during 19 September 2012. It underwent explosion and 26 of them died and 40 plus of them have undergone injury. And the financial loss was 300 to $1,000 million. We have another example, Guadalajara sewer explosion, Mexico. Gasoline came out and entered in a nearby sewer line, because of which 252 died, 500 injured, and um, 15,000 people became homeless, and this was due to failure. So, by now, I think you would have guessed what we are going to discuss in this lesson. It is principles of chemical and electrochemical corrosion. So the course outcome for this lesson is to develop fundamentals of electrochemistry and engineering process, and the Bloom's taxonomy level is applied. The learning outcome is at the end of this lecture, you'll be able to understand the principles of chemical and electrochemical corrosion. So what is corrosion? Metals made by smelting, reduction of ore or mineral. Mineral is more stable than metals. Most probably metals wishes to be in metallic oxide or in the form of minerals. So metals in air wants to return to their oxidized state, and corrosion is a natural process. So what is corrosion? So it is defined as the degradation or destruction of any metal or an alloy because of chemical or electrochemical reaction with the surrounding environment or medium. And rusting is the corrosion related to iron and iron-based alloys. Non-ferrous metals also corrode but do not rust. So economic due to material losses, safety. We don't have safety to prevent catastrophic consequences resulting from operation failure of the equipment, and conservation to conserve metal resources which are limited. So these are the reasons for corrosion studies. And responsibility for corrosion failures, that we have 16% due to wrong specification, and 10% due to bad inspection, 12% human error, 36% lack of proving, 14% poor planning, 8% unforeseeable, and 4% other causes which are responsible for corrosion failure. So what could be the consequences of corrosion? So we are wasting metals. 25% of annual world production of iron is wasted due to corrosion. Decrease in efficiency, failure of machineries, leakage in the process, and causes contamination also. So who all can study corrosion? Here I've given only limited possibilities like chemical engineering, chemistry, civil engineering, electrical engineering, and this represents none: materials engineering, business, and physics. So as I told you, like this is destruction or deterioration of metal and alloys. Most probably metals will be converted into metallic compound, and that is what we call it as corrosion. In general, from metallic compound we generate metal, that is metallurgy. So metallurgy and corrosion, they are vice and versa. So what is expected from you? Ensuring maximum life of new equipment through corrosion protection, preservation of existing equipment, improving the quality of the product, prevention of spillage or leakage, and reducing hazards to life and property. So as I told you, like we have two types of corrosion: chemical or dry corrosion, electrical corrosion or wet corrosion. What is chemical or dry corrosion? Dry, that means no moisture. Okay, so it takes place direct attack of oxygen, halogens, hydrogen sulfide, nitrogen. And the corrosion product could be insoluble, soluble, or it could be liquid product also. So it can be due to attack of oxygen, that is oxidation corrosion. It could be due to other gases, dry gases like carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, chlorine, hydrogen sulfide, and fluorine, and due to anhydrous liquids. So oxidation corrosion, corrosion by hydrogen, and liquid metal corrosion comes under chemical corrosion. So oxidation corrosion, it will take place due to the direct attack of oxygen on metals like alkali metals or alkaline earth metals. At temperature high, almost all metals except gold, silver, and platinum, they are called as noble metals. They will not undergo corrosion. So oxidation corrosion occurs like this. Consider this to be a metal. Always metal has a tendency to lose electrons to produce metallic ions. At the same time, oxygen has a tendency to gain electrons and it forms oxide ion. Now the metallic ion and oxide ion combines to form metallic oxide. Okay, so most probably the metallic ion will tend to come out of the metal and combines with oxygen to form metallic oxide. So this will not only stop with the first layer, it will continuously happen. And the continuity will depend upon the nature of the oxide film, whether it is stable oxide, unstable, volatile, or porous. Say if it is a stable oxide, it will act like a protective layer, as in the case of aluminium, tin, lead, copper, etc. Whereas in the case of unstable oxide layer, they give back the metal and oxygen. This happens in the case of platinum, silver, etc. And volatile, if the oxide layer is volatile, continuous corrosion takes place, as in the example of molybdenum oxide. And the last one is it will be scale-like one or porous. That will decide whether it is going to be a protective or non-protective. And this is decided by a rule called Pilling-Bedworth rule. And we have to compare the volume of the oxide layer and volume of the metal. If the volume of the oxide layer is less than the volume of the metal, it is porous and non-protective. and this happens in sodium, magnesium, calcium, etc. On the other way around, if the volume of the oxide layer is greater than the volume of the metal, this will act like a protective layer, as it happens in heavy metals like tin, lead, etc. And this ratio of volume of oxide to that of volume of metal, we call it as Pilling-Bedworth ratio. And corrosion by hydrogen happens like when iron combines with hydrogen sulfide, there is production of atomic hydrogen, and these atomic hydrogen combines to form a molecular hydrogen, and they occupy the voids in the metals, and that will release cracks and blisters, and that will lead to embrittlement, and this is known as hydrogen embrittlement. Decarburization occurs also on the metals, like molecular hydrogen at high temperature will be converted into hydrogen atoms, and they combine with carbon in steel to form methane. Again, these methane will occupy the voids and cracks in the metals, and that is known as decarburization of steel. So what is liquid metal corrosion? This will either dissolve the solid metal by a liquid metal, or the liquid metal may penetrate into the solid metal. Both will weaken a metal. Next one is wet or electrochemical corrosion. So I think wet or electrochemical corrosion we'll discuss in the next lecture. Thank you. Actually, this will take place in two different conditions, like when two dissimilar metals or alloys are in contact with each other in the presence of an aqueous solution or moisture, or when a metal is exposed to varying concentration of oxygen or any electrolyte. So let us discuss about the wet corrosion in the next lecture. Thank you.